disgusting display that led to charges being filed against one South Jersey man and brought a community together in protest. A
large one, in fact. It all started with the video showing the 45-year-old Mount Laurel resident screaming racist slurs and threatening his neighbors on Friday. And the now viral clip, he called for people to show up at his home, and that is exactly what has happened.
Action News reporter George Solis live in that neighborhood with this developing story. George, let us know what you're learning about this.
Yeah, great. And Sarah, this has been a very active scene here all morning and afternoon. Protesters have been growing by the hour. Many of them prepared to stay for the long haul. Many of them prepared with signs, many of them with chairs. Take a look behind me. You can see some of the activity here as they have staged outside of this man's home. This crowd has grown exponentially, especially as more people have watched this already viral video. Now, things have been peaceful, but there have been a few tense moments. Tensions and tempers flared Monday on Gramercy Way in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. The anger and outrage centered on this.
Back up. Keep backing up. Back up. Don't touch me. Keep backing up. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
An explosive interaction between neighbors caught on video back on July 2nd is now part of a police investigation.
Walk away. Not Africa. Oh, this side of the house. Not Solomon or wherever. I was born in America.
Well, then you know what's common ground. What's common ground?
I don't give a about you.
According to police, the man in the video in the green shirt is 45-year-old Edward Cagney Matthews.
You over here, both have videotape. You putting your hands on me.
Matthews now faces harassment and bias intimidation charges connected to the dispute that, according to neighbors, stem from months of issues with the development's HOA board, including this racial slur written on a board member's fence and years of allegations of harassment of others. Allegations Matthew appeared to address in the video as he uses slur after racial slur.
And you want to know where I was when all this happened?
I don't care.
At work, Keith.
I don't care where you were.
At morgue. Just like I told the Mount Laurel police.
The tirade continued even as an officer showed up.
You know what? Hold on. No. I'm going to let you do your thing. Go talk to these.
Before the video ends, Matthew gave out his home address, seemingly encouraging protesters who arrived on cue. Matthews later came out to address the crowd, only to be ushered back inside his home.
We're not just going to let him harass people, especially black people, within this community or any community.
Jasmine Tazinski and her mother, Aaliyah Robinson, showed up to protest and claimed they, too, were victimized by Matthews in years past.
We have tried to get justice, and if we got justice, this wouldn't be happening now.
And again, a live look at the scene here in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Again, protesters coming in and out. This crowd only growing larger by the moment, it seems. Mount Laurel police said Matthews faces harassment and biased intimidation charges. It's unknown at this point if he's under investigation for any prior allegation. Now, the agency did put out a statement along with the information this afternoon saying they do not condone any of the behavior seen in that video. We're live in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. George Solis, Channel 6. Action News. Back to you.
All right, George, we'll stay on that for sure.
All praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Hakadesh, double answer, possible ever date, no soul, no soul, no 100% truth. Salutations to the Yakim out there, pushing the truth in all sincerity, and risk their life to do so. Also, salutations to the hopeful like to believe in the truth of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that's scattered among the four corners of the earth. Shalom. As you can see in the news clip, you know, there's tension, you know, between, you know, Esau, Edom, and Jake, you know. But, you know, race wars are a part of biblical prophecy, you know, and these things are, you know, have been ordained to take place by Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. I'm just going to read here in Genesis 49:9, which reads, Judah is a prey, it's like a Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouches as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Yeah, and that's the Lord, you know, putting the spirit among his people to be roused up in these last days, because, you know, race wars are, you know, part of biblical prophecy. And also the Lord is placing his spirit among his elect spirits as well to be roused up, you know, in his truth, you know, especially among his men, you know, that he gave us 100% truth to be roused up in the spirit, you know, to preach his gospel, you know, throughout the four corners of the earth, you know, because we know we're scattered among the four corners of the earth. So the Lord of raising up his men on the highways and byways to be roused up in the spirit to preach his gospel, you know. And also, you know, 2/3, you know, the Lord is going to rouse up, you know, to bring forth these race wars that he has to take place in the end. Let's go on to the next scripture. This is Matthew 24:7, which reads, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Yeah, so this is Yahweh Shai. He states that, nations are going to be rising against nations, so people against another people are going to be roused up in these last days, and we're going to be, it's like we're going to actually be warring, for other nations in these last days, because you got to understand that, we're the chosen people, and we have enemies within, of these other nations. You know what I'm saying? Esau, Edom, who's our number one adversary, along with these other nations, the Hamites, the Moabites, all these other nations are our enemies, So the Lord's going to rouse up all these nations, not only the nation of Israel, but all the nations are going to be roused up to war with each other, because it's part of end time prophecy. Let's go to the next scripture. This is Second Esdras. Second Esdras 16, and it's like it. Second Esdras 15:14, which reads, "Woe to the world." It's like it. Second Esdras 15:14. "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one shall stand in Slakia. And one shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands." Yeah, so the Lord is going to place his spirit of vengeance, amongst the people to war with each other. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to have weapons. When things get real tight, as these prophecies continue to unfold, it's going to get, things are going to intensify. It's going to get even worse. Renewing, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah. So not only that people are going to be warring with each other, they're going to also war with their government. And they're not going to have, no regard for law enforcement or politicians or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're going to rise up against their kings, against their so-called leaders. And it's going to just be all out chaos during these times. "And man shall desire to go in the city." It's like a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Yeah, which is going into martial law, because that's deemed and prophesied to take place. All these things that the Lord has put forth are going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And we're at these times, and we're getting closer and closer to the end. And there's a major division in the earth. Especially with going into the COVID-19 vaccination. Now they got people that are against each other, as far as those that are vaccinated and non-vaccinated. They got talks of for those that are unvaccinated, to take away their privileges from them. You know what I'm saying? Because in this country, they aren't rights. You know what I'm saying? There are privileges that they have given unto you. Because the whole COVID lockdown should let you know that these so-called constitutional rights that you have been deemed or been given to you by your oppressor, you so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans. These rights don't even really apply to you anyway, because you were slaves at the time. We were, as a people, we were in slavery at a time when they wrote these things up. Those were things that were written, for their own. Esau, Edom, and his people. And even with that, he have his own people enslaved, showing you, he's the true he's the true devil. He's the true um, um, wicked man that the Lord has placed in the earth. You know what I'm saying? For a man to enslave his own people, and for them to be deceived, which that's the meaning of devil. For them to be deceived, to believe that they have these certain rights that they've pretty much been taken away from them. In this whole lockdown measure, goes to show that you don't have no freedoms. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a slave to your own people as well. Esau Edom. And showing you how wicked he is. And that shows you how much hatred he has for the nation of Israel. That not only will he does these things to bring wickedness or punishment among us, but he even do it to his own people. You know what I'm saying? In that regard, that's how much hatred that he has towards us, that he'll do it. He'll enslave his own people just to get at us. This is second Esdras 9:1. It's like it. Second Esdras 9:1, which reads, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and the end, and the end is manifest." Yeah. Showing you that we're at the end, that the Lord has placed his spirit, to cause a division or uproars throughout the world in the end times. Because the Lord, he said it himself, that he didn't come for peace, but he come to cause a division. So this is the time to where he has deemed these things to take place in the earth. Because we're pretty much at the end, and the Lord is about to take this Esau Edom, out of his power seat. He's about to be knocked down from the heavens. From his position of rule. The Lord is about to take this devil out. All for the sakes of the nation of Israel. And this is where we at right now. And these things are only going to intensify, as we get closer and closer to the end. So as the prophets has, been prophesizing, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, we seeing these things take place. The men of GMS has been telling you these things for the longest, and now we're seeing these things unfold. And the elect of the nation of Israel, they can see clearly. This is where we at. So this is almost over. So just want to say, Kohala Yahweh Shem Shai, Kwam Mashabala, Shabbat Shalom.